This is the AM News. In our first story, the Volta River Authority headquarters in Accra have red bands on fenced walls, trees, main entrances and doors in protest of the proposed merger with Bui Power Authority. The workers have voiced strong opposition to a draft bill proposing a major restructuring of the energy sector, which includes the merger of the VRA with the Bui Power Authority. The bill also seeks to merge the Electricity Company of Ghana with the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, that is NEDCO, while creating a new independent thermal power authority by separating VRA's thermal plants. Workers have expressed their frustration, arguing that the Volta River Authority was established for the people, not to be auctioned off to the highest bidder. The workers say they will hold a series of meetings to determine their next line of action if the proposal is not scrapped. Moving on, parliamentary candidates for the opposition National Democratic Congress in the Futu constituency, James Kofi Annan, is asking the Electoral Commission to, as a matter of urgency, conduct an audit of the entire 2024 Futu constituency voters register. He alleges that some 3,009 voters have been transferred onto the register as a blind side of the NDC. James Kofi Annan is also demanding the removal and/or the deletion of all those who have been illegally transferred onto the 2024 Futu Voters Register and a re-exhibition of the 2024 Futu Voters Register.
Official voters transfer exercise was conducted between May 30th and June 14th, 2024. At the end of this exercise, the Electoral Commission recorded a total of 6,218 voters who transferred their vote into the Futu constituency, according to the daily printouts that were given to all parties. A 3-day mop-up voter transfer exercise was conducted for student and security personnel only. This was done between July 3rd and 5th, 2024. And a total of 846 voters were officially transferred onto the Futu register, according to the daily printout that were given to all parties. This brought the total of the official voter transfers to 7,024. This is the highest recorded in the central region. However, upon examination during the voters' exhibition, we have discovered that the total number of voters transferred have jumped to 9,897. This means that the Electoral Commission has secretly transferred 3,009 votes onto the register at the blind side of the NDC. We in the NDC are further raising the issue of the Electoral Commission's compliance with the CI that is guiding the 2024 elections. CI 127 requires the Electoral Commission to ensure that a person transferring a vote into a constituency is an ordinary resident of the constituency for not less than 12 months. We have, however, discovered that over 70% of all the transfers done by the Futu Constituency Electoral Commission into the register were done without any basis. This, we believe, is illegal and a mere importation of voters into the constituency. There is also an unresolved issue of the alleged 126 military officers who were reported to have been illegally transferred onto the Futu constituency register, which the NDC Central Regional Chairman raised a few months ago. We are concerned that apart from the potential illegalities in their transfers, they might have been transferred onto the constituency for ulterior motives. We have also maintained that the Electoral Commission has been manipulating the Futu constituency electoral system in favor of the MPP. In the year 2020, the Efutu register was bloated by an estimated 20,000 voters. Almost all illegal voters are still in the Efutu register. We are not going to sit down for additional voters to be transferred illegally onto the Efutu constituency voter register. We want to state that the total population of the Efutu constituency is just around 107,000. The population of Gomoa East is over 308,000 and more urban and closer to Accra. The population of the Ewutu Senya East is just around 236,000.
Away from that, the Great Convention People's Party has selected Dr. Daniel August Latte Jr. as its flag bearer for the December polls. This will be the fourth time Dr. Latte will be leading the party into a presidential election, having previously contested in the 2000, 2004 and 2008 polls. Here's Stephen Mensah with the rest of the story.
As Ghana approaches the December 7 elections, it is clear that this is not just another political contest between the current Vice President and flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and former President John Dramani Mahama, representing the NDC. Dr. Daniel Latte Jr., the newly unveiled flag bearer of the Great Convention People's Party, has called for an independent audit of the electoral register, citing it as a crucial step towards ensuring a credible election.
The Electoral Commission, I implore you to ensure that this election is conducted in a fair, transparency, and integrity. The future of our democracy depends on your commitment to those principles. Together, we can overcome these obstacles and build a Ghana where every child has access to education. Every family can afford health care. And every individual has the opportunity to succeed.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the party slammed the government for its blatant hypocrisy in tackling illegal mining, accusing them of paying lip service to the crisis whilst allowing the distraction to continue unabated. He demanded that the president takes immediate action.
If you see our water bodies, it makes me sad. What are we leaving for those behind us? What is our commitment to this fight against Galamsey? This is not a time to do name calling. I'm not here to mention names. We know. We know those who are involved. Why are we doing this to ourselves? The water we drink, we don't even know where it's coming from. Now Ghana Water is complaining. They are all shutting down their machines. And it turns back to be an added cost to all of us. Is it not sad that we see when you are traveling, those traveling from Kumasi, when you get to Konongo, in fact, it is just by the roadside. It's not far from you. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And we pretend we are fighting against Galamsey. And because we've made it a partisan fight, the current government fears to fight it fiercely because opposition is ready to take advantage to say, oh, when we come, we will do this. So everybody is paying lip service to the fight against Galamsey.
The unveiling ceremony, which marked the 7th National Delegates Congress of the party, was a rallying cry for action. Dr. Latte Jr. and the GCPP are calling for transparency, accountability, and bold leadership to address Ghana's pressing issues.
In other stories, Deputy Executive Director of Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, Daniel Banoku, has called for desegregation and proper targeting of farmers affected by the long dry spell in the country. He noted that there is a vast difference between small-scale farmers and large-scale farmers and that they are not the same, adding the risk of the drought experienced by the two categories of the farmers are also not the same. He warned that the relief support announced by the government should not be an avenue for the money to end in wrong hands. Daniel Banoku made this statement at a press conference in Wa, from where Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam announced last week that government has allocated 8 billion Ghana cedis to provide relief and some mitigative measures for the farmers affected by the dry spell. He, however, considered that the response may not entirely neutralize the extent of the problem, but will certainly help in stabilizing the situation until the country gets out of the crisis. Though government is yet to redeem its pledge, red flags has already been raised from the civil society front regarding the mode of distribution. Speaking at a press conference in Wa, Deputy Executive Director of Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, CICOD, Daniel Bononko, warned that it should not be an avenue for them to share their monies to persons who are not affected by the drought.
There are large-scale farmers, there are small-scale farmers. The risk of the drought and how they experience them differently are not the same. Large-scale farmers, for example, might be able to have insurance on their farms. And so because of this situation, they are able to go to their insurance company and say, pay a compensation for the drought. And therefore, the amount of attention that they would require from this government subvention or support will not be the same as a smallholder farmer who has invested all of his property for the season in producing 1 acre. So targeting, we think, must really be done very well to ensure that we don't end up bringing increasing inequalities and ensuring that those who are already well-to-do get a chunk of the money, while smallholder farmers who are really severely impacted do not have access to anything, and maybe they do not have connections. For the large-scale farmer, the drought is a business gone wrong. For the small-scale holder, the drought is a lifetime situation that has gone wrong. And the way we approach each of them is going to be different.
Daniel Bononko made the following recommendations, which he thinks will be fair, equitable, and transparent for the people.
This kind of the support must work through the district directors of agriculture and the district assemblies, through the agriculture extension agents who live and work with the farmers in the communities, to be the point where they should begin to raise who are the people. The AES are the best people to tell how many farmers are impacted within his area and what is the severity of the impact on each of them, and therefore determine a kind of a compensation package that will be fair, equitable, and transparent to all of us. And so if the ministry and government is sincerely interested in addressing the real impacted in this drought, this for us would be one of the approaches. There could be many, but this would be one of the approaches that can ensure proper targeting and ensure efficiency in the distribution of the resources and ensure that there is equity in the use of public funds in augmenting the situation that we find ourselves in.
Senior lecturer at the Simon Diodon University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Samuel Bonya, sees the plan of the government to dole out relief to victims of the drought as treating the symptoms of the drought rather than the cost.
You would find that many assistance programs, in fact, result in increased vulnerability to future drought events by making individuals even more reliant on government programs and assistance from donor organizations because of the long-term socioeconomic and environmental impact of drought. Droughts are far the most damaging of all natural disasters.
Reporting for Bui News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The United Nations Specialized Agency focused on tourism, United Nations World Tourism Organization, says that despite the growth in tourism across Africa, connectivity, the ease with which people can travel between locations remain a big challenge. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 7th edition of the 2024 Africa Leadership Tourism Forum, the UN Tourism Regional Director for Africa, Elsia Groundcourt, stated that her organization is working with all stakeholders to simplify visa entry requirements for travel within Africa and leverage innovative systems to digitalize visa procedures and advocate for a single unified air transport market. Maxwell Agbagba was at that forum in Botswana and now reports.
The Africa Tourism Leadership Forum, ALTF, is a key Pan-African platform that brings together leaders from Africa's travel, tourism, hospitality, and aviation sectors. It focuses on sharing insights, developing strategies to boost intra-African travel, and fostering network opportunities. The forum also aims to strengthen the global brand of Destination Africa and promote tourism growth across the continent. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the 7th edition in Botswana, the Vice President of Botswana, Slamba Chogwani, said the country is investing a lot of resources to develop its tourism sector, touting the country's beef as the best in the world.
Tourism in Botswana is a major contributor to the national economy and has tremendous potential to grow. It is for this reason that Botswana government has reviewed its tourism policy and also developed the national tourism strategy and master plan to provide relevant frameworks for developing the sector.
Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Tourism Partners, organizers of the event, Kwache Donko, reaffirmed the commitment of ATP to helping African nations unlock their tourism potential.
We had a program for youth called the Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge, which has been going on for the past 6 years. And all the time, the top 3 winners are announced in Botswana. Technology, Cape Peninsula University of Technology, Strathmore University of Kenya, University Business School of Ghana, and United Nations World Tourism Organization, Ministry of Tourism Namibia, responsible for tourism. We will be launching the Africa Tourism Innovation Hub in Cape Town the 16th of this month. And once again, we are very grateful to Botswana for that.
The UN Tourism Regional Director for Africa, Elsia Groundcourt, stated that her organization is collaborating with stakeholders to simplify travel across Africa, which will boost tourism continent-wide.
Dear friends, despite the growth, challenges remain. Connectivity has been identified as a key issue that needs to be addressed to fully unleash Africa's tourism potential. And this recently, my dear friends, was reiterated by the Ministers of Tourism as they met at the 67th Regional Commission for Africa.
Estimated 334,000 Ghanaians living with HIV, only 65% know their status. Of those, just 69% are on treatment, resulting in a viral suppression rate of 89%. As of December 2023, an estimated 12,400 persons died of HIV/AIDS in Ghana. This data was shared by the Program Manager of the National AIDS Control Program, Dr. Ayisi Ado, at a 3-day workshop in Koforidua in the Eastern region, making a start of the Global Fund's Grant Cycle 7 on HIV self-testing projects. Carlos Caloni reports.
As the Global Fund Grant Cycle 7 GC7 on HIV self-testing project implementation kicks off for the next 3 years, over 150 participants from 50 NGOs within the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network, GHANET, have been equipped with vital skills to combat the HIV epidemic and achieve the 2030 goals of 95-95-95. Highlighting progress towards these UN global targets, National AIDS Control Program Manager Dr. Ayisi Ado noted Ghana needs to do more in the area of testing revealing that only 65% of the estimated 334,000 people living with HIV in the country are aware of their status.
As a country, we've agreed to end the epidemic by 2030. And to do that, we must have very low new infections. The deaths at any given point in time must be very, very low. And as we speak, Ghana is recording about 12,000 deaths. As of last year, December, estimated deaths due to HIV, it was 12,400.
Garnet President and Acting Chairman of the Global Fund's Country Coordinating Mechanism, Ernest Amoabi Otten, announced that the 2024 self-testing initiative is sponsored by the Global Fund is focused on reaching 75% of men and 25% of women.
For this year's implementation, we are mostly targeting men because we have observed that men, our health-seeking behavior is quite poor. So once we are going to the community, we are mostly targeting men for this particular implementation. We want to test at least about 75% of the time. Men will be our target and 25%.
The NGOs in health have been urged to create more demand for HIV self-testing in their host communities to help government attain the 95-95-95 target. For Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Koforidia.
The Director General of the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, Professor Yayura Jakaji, has asserted that teachers have a crucial role in positioning Ghana for the fourth industrial revolution. He therefore entreated colleges of education to train teachers to be technologically inclined to enable them to produce a workforce that would have expertise for the revolution. He was speaking at the 16th graduation of the Evangelical Presbyterian College of Education in Amejope in the whole West District of the Volta region.
The 16th congregation of the Evangelical Presbyterian College of Education saw the graduation of 195 pioneering students of the Bachelor of Education program. 10 of the graduates were awarded first class, 148 had second class upper, while 37 had second class lower. The year recorded no third class and pass. The college principal, Dr. Dixon Chair, said they achieved such a great feat while grappling with infrastructural deficits. The college lacks an auditorium, administration block, staff accommodation, lecture halls, among others.
Reverend Chairman, while we celebrate our achievements, it is also important to acknowledge the challenges that we face as a college that needs urgent attention. Some of these are as follows: lack of auditorium, the stalled 300 capacity hostel project, the abandoned Get Fund project for the female students. We are at this moment once again appealing to government.
The Director General of the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, Professor Yayura Jakaji, chronicled how Ghana missed out on the first, second, and third industrial revolutions and underscored the need for a paradigm shift.
Breaking the status quo begins with rethinking the very foundations of teacher education. We must move beyond the traditional lecture halls and embrace new and innovative approaches that reflect the realities of today's classroom. Teacher education programs must incorporate technology not as afterthoughts, but as a core component of the curriculum.
Tagbe Ajanye of Ziavi entreated the graduates to take their destiny into their hands. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Amejope.
Economist Professor John Gachi has advised government to be cautious about strategies to stabilize the city, control borrowing, and manage the economy well to avoid paying high interest on debt. According to him, despite the conclusion of the debt exchange program, there must be a conscious effort to contain the interest payments in order not to derail the gains made after the domestic debt exchange program. Reacting to a report by the Bank of Ghana, which showed that the total amount of interest paid by governments for the first 5 months of this year witnessed some significant increase, Prof. Gachi said managers of the economy must focus on achieving debt sustainability going forward.
The domestic debt exchange program does not mean that the government is still not borrowing. So, if you borrow, you need to pay interest. And again, if you are paying interest on debts which are denominated in the dollar, depreciation will affect the service of that debt. So that is the explanation I will give to them.
Fair enough.
So,
go ahead.
if we manage our economy well and the cedi is stable, and then we control the borrowing, then we also accommodate the interest payments that we make. What it means is that by the debt exchange program, we will resume especially the repayment of interest components of the external debt soon. By the close of the year, we are likely to pay close to about 500 million. That will be added to the repayment of debt for the year. And going forward, we are going to resume full repayment of the restructured external debt, and which means that the interest component or the repayment package will go up.
The Association of Ghana Industries has asked governments to show more commitment by supporting local manufacturing firms to enhance their production capacity to boost the economy. They contend most of the local companies have the capacity to produce to meet demand, hence the need for a deliberate effort to cushion local businesses. Speaking to Joy Business, Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelu, stated that there must be a conscious effort to whip up the taste for locally produced items to strengthen the cedi.
The economy needs to be stabilized. I mean, what we want to do is to sit in our boardroom and make decisions, annual decisions, quarter decisions, half-year decisions, and knowing that our currency will be stabilized. Because as you speak, if you make decisions for 6 months, by the time you get to December, you are unable to control if the currency will remain stable. And so it's difficult to make boardroom decisions affecting your purchasing and supply and affecting your importation of raw materials. So that one thing that should happen is that we want the economy to be stabilized. Number two is that the raw materials that can be produced locally should be encouraged. For example, agri products. We have a lot of arable lands that should be used for farming, consistent farming. Why are we importing vegetables from abroad just to supply to the hotels? Why is that happening? Why don't we produce vegetables locally? Why are we buying chicken from abroad? Why are we importing chicken? Why are we importing rice? So I'm saying that we have to quickly be able to produce most of these things that we can produce locally. At the same time, we need to encourage consumption of goods that are produced locally as well, because some of the AGI members have capacity to produce locally to supply to the entire country. The challenge is that a lot of our people have developed taste for consumption of foreign goods, and that's also part of the challenge. So then we continually importing products that are already here and that are manufactured here. So our proposal is to ensure that we consume what is produced locally so that we can have more money staying in our economy as opposed to having to go and buy dollars in order to import.
And that's all for our business updates in this bulletin. So it's a wrap for the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com and get yourself updated and well informed. There's a lot more coming your way, starting with the news review segment. Ishaku Ibrahim, a senior lecturer at the UPSA Law School, Nanaya Sapong, political assistant to Alan Shermanting, and Remy Edmondson, the national secretary of the PPP, are joining us for a conversation from the newspapers. Stay with us.